Hello and welcome back to our second season of our podcast, Invisible Wound. This limited 5-episode podcast series is part of our larger project called Hakara, Facing Transgenerational Trauma. This project was initiated by AMCHA Germany and funded by the German Foreign Office. AMCHA Germany supports the Israeli NGO AMCHA that was established in 1987 by a group of Holocaust survivors and devoted mental health professionals. AMCHA Israel offers psychosocial support for Holocaust survivors and their families in 15 centers across the country. My name is Sharon Ryba-Kahn. I'm a Berlin-based filmmaker and third generation of survivors of the Shoah. This is the perspective I'll be speaking from. In the first season of this podcast, we focused on the perspective of Aboriginal Australians and their experiences of collective transgenerational trauma. You can listen to the episodes on Spotify and YouTube. For this season, we have chosen a different approach. We will be talking to trauma experts and artists with different perspectives and different experiences of transgenerational, collective, and genocidal violence. What they have in common is their activism and engagement to address the effects of trauma throughout generations and societal boundaries. But now, let's welcome Esther.
So, my name is Esther Mujawayo-Keiner. I was born in Rwanda, and I'm living now in Germany. So I have 3 daughters. My grandson is now 7 months old. It is a new experience for me. Like I said, I was born in Rwanda. I grew up there. I lived there. And in 1994, during the genocide against the Tutsis, they killed my husband. They killed my parents-in-law, the whole family. I'm lucky that the girls survived. I'm trained as a sociologist, but later on, I decided to change and to train as a psychotherapist. There was a lot of trauma, and at the time, we didn't really know the notion of trauma, being traumatized or whatever. We were having all the symptoms, but for us, we were thinking we are crazy because everything was just abnormal, our reaction, how we were living, what we were doing. So this is when I decided, and I have the chance, my employer, Oxfam. I've been working for Oxfam UK. So they gave me a sabbatical year. So I went to UK, to University of East Anglia, and this is where I have the chance to train as a psychotherapist. So I went back to Rwanda and work with our widows organization, which we founded immediately after the genocide. It was to start with, it was like a self-help group. And then I went back and I worked as psychotherapist there. Later on, 2000, I came here. I got remarried again with a German guy. So this is how I came to Germany. And I really have the chance to find a job, even though I was not speaking the language. And this is what I'm doing until now in the psychosocial center for refugees in Düsseldorf, for traumatized refugees in Düsseldorf. And this is where I am. I'm working full-time there.
Esther, thank you very much for sharing. You said something very interesting. You said, we didn't have the notion of trauma and we thought we were crazy. How does having that notion of trauma actually help in healing, ultimately? How do you work with it as a therapist?
I remember at the beginning when we start meeting, there was a lot of cry. We were crying a lot while telling our stories, what happened to us. There was a lot of sadness. This is understandable. But then there was also some reactions which were bizarre, and we were afraid of saying that. For example, one will say, do you know that last time I wanted to go to the market, and then suddenly on my way, I really don't know where I am. I couldn't find my way anymore. And this is something you have been doing automatically. And then you think, oh, if I cannot find my way back to the market, and you are afraid of getting like I said, getting crazy. Or when we were cooking, when you cook for the family, and you don't remember that you put already salt, and you put it 2 times, 3 times, and in the end, nobody's going to eat it. And this is something you have been doing every day, and suddenly you think I'm no longer the same woman. I mean, for example, this concentration problem, which is very, very common by traumatized people. First of all, you are really anxious. What is happening? What is happening with me? So let us say you want to go to the church, and then you realize that you have put your dress, you put it ups and down, and it is very, very, you are ashamed. How can I do such thing? But not only that, but it is also our character. And now for any single thing, you are immediately angry. You have a lot of anger in you. And we have also those, what we call in our jargon, the somatic problem. You have this pain, this headache, stomachache, the shoulders, the back. The back, by the way, is one of the very usually which is really symptomatic. And when you go to the doctor and they don't find anything, if you have the chance to go to the doctor, but they don't find anything, but of course you know that it is paining. Why I'm saying the notion of trauma, like here in West in Germany, people knows if they are traumatized, they know they go to a psychotherapist, they go to they can be handled. But in our place, in that time, it was really new. But what helped us as well, and why I made my training, is that one of the psychotherapists, an old doctor from UK, who was really, really one of the best, he came to us, to our widows organization, and he told us, women, don't be afraid, you are not crazy. What happened to you was crazy. So don't worry, your reactions now that you think it is not normal, you think you are not normal because your reactions, of course, are not normal. But he said, they are normal for the abnormal you went through. So for us, it was really important to realize it is very normal. We are not crazy. What happened to us was crazy, was abnormal. And our second question to the doctor was, and you think that we can be normal again? We can be the women we used to be? And he told us, of course, you will be the women you used to be. And you will be even more than the women you used to be. So this became a little bit our motto. Let us be the women we used to be, and we will be even more. So this new notion of not only post-traumatic stress disorders, but post-traumatic growth, which is possible.
One gets the sense that the word trauma is in overuse today. What do you think about it?
It is a pity. You have any problem, then you are traumatized. You are traumatized. I think the trauma we went through, in fact, it is normal in life. In every life, it is normal to have problems. They will happen. But we have the capacity to cope with it. Even the loss. You can lose somebody, a beloved one will die, but there is a way of coping. There are rituals which you used to have when somebody died. There's normal, coping mechanism normal in a normal situation. But this time, like I'm talking of the genocide in Rwanda, it was monumental. It was. In 3 months, you lose everybody, not only your husband, but your father, your mother, your sister, your nephew, your friend, your colleague. It's like an earthquake. Everybody is gone. You stay there in this emptiness. How can you cope? How can you cope with so sudden and so many, and so the way also they were killed. It was the means they used to kill were horrible. I remember in our cynism, we used to say, okay, to kill, but why to kill so bad? Like if there is killing well and killing bad. So I was saying that you lose your people, they die suddenly in so horrible ways, and you survive, and you have to go on. You have to be alive again. But how can you be alive when there's no sister, no mother, no father, no husband? And many of my friends, they lost the children. The children were killed. Many people actually survived because the killers thought they were dead, but with very, very heavy injuries. Many women, actually, there were more women survivors, but later on we realized that the whole 3 months they have been kept in sexual slavery. They were raped every day, and many were after infected with AIDS. And of course, they destroyed everything. They destroyed our houses. They looted everything. So you are really, really lost after that. And I think the worst with the genocide in Rwanda, it was also that it was done by our neighbors. It was done by our colleagues. It was done by our pastors. It was our doctors, our teachers. So there was really the propaganda, which was so high, made sure that nearly everybody is going to be involved in doing, and anybody to die, any Tutsi, it will really be a miracle to survive, because there are roadblocks everywhere. So it is also not only that you have lost your people, but to think that you lost the humanity. You were really, when they were chasing us, people were hiding everywhere where they can, but then they will even use the dogs to find out where people are hiding, or they will use children to find out where people are hiding. So it is really a loss of humanity, a loss of trust, which is terrible. How to go ahead without trusting? How can you trust anybody anymore? I remember one of my clients. They killed all her family, and they kept her. They didn't kill her, but because they were raping her. So in the end, she was lucky that one auntie came out from Burundi, I think, and she took her. She put her back in school, but she couldn't follow. She was really not. And when she came to me in the therapy, she was, for the first time, she could shout and cry and say, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. Because unless in the therapy, nowhere else, you are not allowed to say, I hate them, I hate them. It was a Catholic school and a boarding school, so she has to be nice, to be Christian, to forgive. This is what people are saying. And you don't have the chance to get out all the whole anger she was having. And of course, she was having very bad notes in school. And when we talked about it, she told me, when I look at the teachers in front, they are not teachers. They are the one who raped me. For me, they are the one who raped me. So this is also one of the symptoms of the trauma. You see it again. You can't be here and now because everything is bringing you back to the event. So she could not look at the teachers in front. But when she was looking through the window, yeah, by the way, Rwanda is very beautiful. The nature is very, very nice. It is plenty of bushes and flowers. But when she cannot look at where the teacher is, and the man for her is a rapist, and she look through the window, but she see the nature, she see the bushes, she sees where she has been raped. So she cannot look there. So she looked down to her feet. And plus this pressure. Everybody wants you to be normal again, and it takes time, and you need help. So I was saying that you lost your people, you lost the trust of anybody else, you lost your childhood if you were a child, or the women, and like I said, even your health. You have to be treated. You have to be the wounds, the visible ones and the invisible ones has to be treated. And it took us a lot before we could get, for example, the how do you call this? The antiretroviral for AIDS. The antiretroviral, they were there, but we didn't have the money for that. And plus the justice, when you see the people who did it, they are now your neighbors. You have to live again together.
Esther, I have to ask this. How do you have trust in humanity after surviving this?
I think it is a long journey. And the first thing is to be allowed not to trust. Because if they immediately they pump you, they come with forgiveness, especially in the very Christian society. I always say, let me first, like my client who was able to say, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. She has the right to hate them rather than hating herself and getting this stomachache or backache because of all this which is inside her. So you need to have the chance to empty your bag. And then I think to trust yourself and to trust life before you come to trust other people.
What can help with healing trust?
I think one of the point or what helped for healing was really to belong again. And this is what we did with our Widows Association, to have a family again, to say, I come from, because now I'm not the wife of, I'm not the sister of, I'm not the mother of, I'm not the so who am I? It is really necessary, like we did. And actually, when we meet between us, our organization became a very big organization with more than 20,000 members. But this became our family, and it is very important to belong again. And this was what was difficult what is still difficult for those who were very young, but they are associations of students, survivors students. They make themselves families. They give them names of the family. Like if now I have a father, I have a mother, so that they can play the roles of the parents who are no longer there. They can play the roles of the siblings who are no longer there. So that again, I'm coming back to this belonging. And I think what helped also, at least for me, what helped really to trust again people is that even though it was the violence was generalized, but from time to time somebody took you in hiding, somebody gave you some water to drink, somebody showed you the way where there is no roadblocks, where there's no killers. So the few who remained with their humanity made us give us the courage to trust again, because I saw it. We saw it. We saw the worst, and we saw the best in the human being. And this gives a little bit the hope that it is possible to keep your humanity.
Do you think it's possible to heal without learning how to trust again?
I don't think so. But I think also when we talk about trust, I will not trust the killers. The one who killed me. I think if they have the chance to kill me again, they will do. But for me, I think what is really necessary is that the perpetrators have to go through the justice. And this is part of the healing, by the way. This is Rwanda. We are living together. There's no west or east or north or south for Hutu or for Tutsi. We are mixed. We even have mixed marriages. So you cannot live one without the other. And this is why it was really important to have this justice, even if it is really difficult. What is justice after genocide? But at least to stop, to say no, and to stop the impunity. Because 94 was they called it final solution. There is a lot of similarities with here in Germany during the Holocaust. I'm born in 58, and already 59, our house was burnt. We have to run, we have to hide. And then it was finished. Nobody has never been punished. We built again the house. We start producing again And then 63, they did again. They burnt our house, they looted everything, they destroyed, we ran, we hide. And after, again, we have to start. 73, it was the same. And 94, the propaganda was so high. And they said this time, don't loot before, don't burn the house before, kill the people first, and the rest you will do after. You will loot. You will. So I think for the first time to see somebody being punished because he killed you because you are Tutsi, it was the first time in 94, after 94 that we saw that.
How do you explain that kind of evil to your own family?
I'm lucky that I could talk about it with my children. Of course, in the words for small children, how people can kill somebody else, so to know that evil which is in all of us, and that actually we have to learn how to control it. We have the good and we have the bad in everyone. But which one are you feeding? If you feed the bad, you can go up to the point of killing somebody. And especially if the politics, if there is no safeguard who is saying this is forbidden. And of course, even if they were small, but they have been affected as well, even if they were protected because I was there, I was the mother, there's so many gaps. If you try to make this tree,
the family tree?
Yeah, there are so many gaps. Where are the dads? Where are the granddads? Where are the grandmom? Where are the aunties? Where are the? And I think it is necessary for the children to know the truth, but to know also what I was saying. Everything starts with intolerance. It starts in the schoolyard. When you don't tolerate somebody because she's or he's black, or he's thick, or he's thin, or he's blonde, or he's Jew, he's a foreigner, he's whatever. When we are all different, we have differences. So how do we accept the differences, or how do we use it to talk about it, to write about it, to make it known? It helps for the next generations to deal with it better than when it is non-said. There is a lot of silence about it, but even the silence can be very, very loud.
How did talking in your family look like?
First, I was lucky that I'm there. Many children don't have parents. Many children don't even know who they are, because when they were rescued, there is no father, there is no mother, there is no family at all. We have many children who have really a big problem of knowing who am I, this identity. So for me, it was easy. I say it was easy because I know, first of all, it is good to talk about it, not to make it a secret or mystery. And I used to tell them also who their father was, how great he was, of course, the auntie, the grandma, the grandparents. So I remember that really in my little belongings with I ran away, there were many photos, and I was happy to share them after the genocide for those who didn't have anything, because you don't have even a photo, you don't even have the face of your people, who they were. I don't explain too much about why they were killed, but I tell the truth. I said they were killed because they were Tutsi. And many children, they will think that to be Tutsi was, they thought it is something you do and they kill you because of that. So we have to explain it without putting hate in the children. This is what I try, at least.
How do you deal with the pain that comes up in those conversations?
I remember, for example, for Anna, for the eldest, she was 5 years at the time. And I remember telling her, like it's so stupid, but we used to say that people who are dead are in heaven. So she was really looking for her dad, crying, asking me, Mama, where is Dad? And I told her that Dad is in heaven. And I once found her outside in the garden, and she was looking at the sky, and she was really calling her father to come back. What are you doing in heaven? I need you here, Dad. And I remember really being angry on me. And I told her, don't believe those stupid things. There is no heaven. There is nothing. I didn't hide my sadness. We used to cry together. This is the big mistake that many people do. They tell you, be brave, don't cry, da, da, da. At least for the children and the women, we are allowed to show emotions, but men in our society are not allowed to show emotions. And it was really a battle to say, no, people have to show the emotions. But of course, when are you showing your emotions? Where is the safe place you are showing it? And this is why those families of survivors, those families of widows were very, very important, because it is a very safe place where you can let it go. And this is what is now in my room when I put red on my door, a safe place where you are allowed to be miserable.
And so, what are the first steps you take with your patients?
When my clients come to me, we first have to try to build trust between the client and me, and really feel the person feels safe, can bring whatever. I'm ready for anything. I'm not judging at all. I'm here for you, because I use a lot of metaphor. And this was also, I come back to our Widows Association, when we start doing therapy, and people were very, very suspicious. I remember one saying, so you mean that I can come, I talk to you, you don't give me any pill, you don't give me any injection, and I'm going to be okay, I'm going to heal. So we used to use, for example, the proverbs. It has to be in the culture, and you have a proverb in our culture which said, so keep in your tummy what is heavy for you. So the dog will not steal your secrets. But it depends on what you are hiding in your tummy, in your stomach. In a normal, if somebody dies in a normal death, this is something you can keep in your stomach. But when you have all of them, all of a sudden, all of what you saw, you can't keep it in your stomach, because it is too big, it is too much. And if you try to keep it in your stomach, but your stomach cannot contain it, this is why your stomach is getting broken. This is why you have all those stomach ache, or your shoulders cannot carry it. This is why you have the problem. Your head cannot contain it. So there's too much that you cannot contain. But on the other hand, you cannot continue to live with it. You have to put it somewhere, and this is our job. This is to offer a place where you can put it. I always joke with my clients that my dustbin is very big, so please take the chance to empty.
Is it not a time too much to having to deal with your own trauma and the ones of your patients?
There are two things. First of all, during my training, I was given the opportunity, and by the way, all the therapists must do themselves their own therapy or their own analysis, so that you don't mix your own and the one from your client. And we are also, we have compulsory supervision. So you really have to pay attention that when it is going to mix, or when it is going to be too much for you, you also have a place, you have another dustbin somewhere where you empty your own. So I think this is, I'm lucky that it is a profession which is really well contained.
What is your experience working with refugees?
What is really striking me, people coming to us, most of the time, nearly all, it is man-made disaster. And this is this brings the question we were talking about, trust. And I think what is different also here, working with refugees, traumatized. So they are traumatized from home. And here, when they arrive, what is really difficult for most of our clients, they think when I am here, I'm safe. Finally, I'm in a safe land. And they don't realize that it is not true. It is not sure if you will stay here. It is not sure if they will accept you to stay. So this uncertainty, not knowing what is going to be tomorrow, and it is very difficult. This is making our job difficult because you cannot heal from trauma if you don't have safety. And this is the basic for any traumatized person. You have first to be or to feel safe. Then you can work on your history. You can work on what has happened. But if you are still struggling, it makes it difficult. Sometimes when I do work with clients and I see progress about for example, about the nightmares or the intrusion, what is coming. But then when they get a little bit better, but they have an appointment to the Foreign Office to renew their stay, and they get a letter to be deported, to go back. Then there are some. I have a woman who tried to kill herself in my room.
You mentioned your house being burned
many times.
Do you remember your parents talking to you about it?
I think I was really lucky because we were talking in our family. So, and I think this is why actually I've been talking to my children, because for us, there was no stupid question. We have been talking very openly about everything. And I remember what really kept us strong is that our parents, my dad and my mom, they had a very, very strong faith also in God. So the way they explained that to us is really, really interesting. They said, we have done nothing. Those people, they came, they burnt our house, they took everything, they took our cows, they loot everything, even though we didn't aggress them. So don't worry. The most important is we are still alive. We are going to build again. We are going to grow plants again. We are going to have cows again. And they used to say, Papa, my dad used to say, those people, they took it, but they will finish it. And after they have finished, when they have eaten the cows, when they have finished everything they looted, they will be miserable. So he said, for him, they were the poor ones. It was not easy to take it when you are small. And I remember a funny thing. In 1973, I was teenager, and they did again. And more than that, they even throw us away from school. So I was 15. I liked studying, but there was 1 year where I was out of school. And I remember when we start building again, making our life again, I met somebody who have looted the shoes of my father, and he was wearing them. And I was so angry because I know those shoes very well. I was the one polishing them. I was that. And I remember I stopped the man and I said, those shoes belong to my father. Give me my father's shoes. Give me my father's shoes. So he was afraid and he was surprised, I think. Then he gave them. And I went home. I went home thinking that my father is going to congratulate me. And he was not proud and he was not happy with me. And he told me, Esther, don't do that anymore. And he said, first of all, it is dangerous what you did. We are a minority. We are not in a position to seek justice. So don't do that anymore. And you know that after all, he took them. But look, I have other shoes. It was month after they did. But they told us, as long as you are alive, you can start again. And this is what was really hard for me in 1994, because as long as we were alive, as long as we were all there, but this time they were all gone. They were all killed. So I was really, I got my period of anger, of not wanting to understand my father again. And for I think for three years now, we have been able to bury properly to the people who have been killed with my parents, because my father was he was a teacher, and he was like a pastor in our evangelic church. So many people came to us to hide or to be safety, thinking that people, at least they will respect my dad. But they didn't. So they were 47 to be killed with my parents. My dad asked the perpetrators, asked the killers to give him a few minutes before, so that he could trust, he could comfort the people who were going to die. And he told them, look, now the last day is coming. They are going to kill us because we are Tutsis, but let us go, let us pray, and we go to our God. And then after comforting everyone, he prayed for the killers. He prayed like Jesus, saying, forgive them, they don't know what they are doing. This was my dad, this was my parents, this is how we grow up. It helped me to think that it is not fair to say that the perpetrator is the poor one, but somewhere the perpetrator is the poor one. It is not an excuse for any perpetrator, but there must be something poor in you when you dare take the life of somebody, another human being.
So your dad is, your father must have been is a role model, I imagine.
I remember he was a teacher. Yeah, I'm not going to start talking. I can talk about him. Like, he was a teacher in primary school, and he really doesn't accept that you can say, this child is not good in mathematics. He said, no, there is bad teachers for mathematics, but every child can understand mathematics. So he was he was an amazing person.
How do you experience the transmission of transgenerational trauma?
If I don't heal, from the first generation, if I don't heal, if I keep it if my stomach is so full, and I didn't empty it somewhere. It doesn't mean that always it has to be the therapy, the professional therapist. It can be, like I say, people like my dad, if he was still alive, or other people who can help you healing. But if you don't heal, of course, your children, or they are feeling that. You don't say, but everybody's feeling that. It is like the air we are breathing. If it is a polluted atmosphere, polluted air, what kind of air are you breathing in your house? This non-said, this sadness, this aggressivity. I see it with some parents when I see how they are reacting with the children. I'm not going to use trauma everywhere, but you see that the way you are reacting means something. And if you don't say it, and if you don't heal from it, of course your child is taking it with, and the child of the child will take it with. And this is why we really encourage people to use the services, to use what is there, in order to break this vicious circle. If you don't break it, it will go on and on.
I'm realizing, listening to you, that with every new generation, it becomes more and more difficult to actually retrace trauma.
Exactly.
Especially if there is, for instance, displacement, and you therefore have to handle a new reality.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, I'm going to be cynical, but at least for us, we saw it. And if you were adult, you saw it, you went through it, you have a name on that. But what we pass on the children and the grandchildren is diffuse. It is. I wanted to say it is unhealthy. Everything is unhealthy, but it is unhealthy. It is more difficult to tackle it because you don't even have a concrete. The situation, the event is no longer there, but the effects of these concrete events that the first generation went through. For the generation to come, it is diffuse. We see it now in Rwanda when there are, in April, there are big commemorations events, and we have many children, many young, who were not born at that time, but who are traumatized by that. During the commemorations, when people are testifying and saying, then you have suddenly people really breaking down, starting to shout, they are coming, they are coming, they are killing us, they are killing us, believing really that living it like if it was happening, although they were not there.
In what other ways do you see collective transgenerational trauma being present or manifesting itself in Rwanda?
I'm really surprised how quick we have been to speak about it, and openly also. And the memorials and it is not taboo, if you want. And the big difference with Rwanda, actually we have the same language. Hutu and Tutsi, we speak the same language. Like I said, we live on the same hills. We are very interdependent. It is a countryside, a rural area. You will need your neighbor. Many people, many survivors, they remained where they were living. And I think that this big shock of being confronted immediately to the killer. I remember one day I was visiting an auntie who survived on our hill, in our village. And there was a ceremony. I think the daughter has come, and when we have parties, when we are drinking in a very big pot, so you can put 6 straws in the big pot, and we drink together. And when I come in, one of the 6 who was drinking with me in the round, he was a killer. So I immediately jumped and get out. And I said, how can you help? And then my auntie told me, Esther, shut up. You can afford to say that because you don't live here. But me, I'm living with them. I have to be, if I'm sick, are you going to come to take me to the hospital from Kigali or from Germany? Who is going to carry me to the hospital? The people who are living with me. If there is this and this is the reality of Rwanda. Very, very hard reality because they are living together. And I think also the whole political situation, to say now, like our ID card, before it was mentioned, it was written that you are Hutu, you are Tutsi in your ID card, and then you are killed on the roadblock. And this has been suppressed. Our ID cards, there is only when you are born, you are Rwandan, so they don't mention anymore this Hutu, Tutsi. And so this is also something which is helping now for the discrimination in schools or in jobs. There is a lot which has been achieved, and you feel like for the young generation, they are much, much open than us. But of course, we have sometimes crisis if your daughter or your son is going to marry a Hutu, who is not a killer, who is not. But then you have really conflict in the families. There are families who will never accept that. There are others who will accept. Many of the survivors of the Holocaust, they didn't stay in the place. They went. They have the possibility to go away. For us, actually, most of the diaspora who has been able to run away is more the Hutus, because they were able to travel. They have all the means. They went to Congo, Tanzania. But for the survivors in the beginning, it was really it was not possible to go somewhere. You didn't have, until the end of the genocide, you were only hiding. After the genocide, you don't have any means. I remember the ones who have been arrested here in Germany. They studied in the university here in Germany. They have friends, and when they come, the friends were hosting them, and they will never believe that they are killers, because you know them as colleagues in uni. Sorry to say again similarities. I think the Nazis were not so wild. How do you say that? They were normal people, but they were systematically killing the Jews. But for their families, for their church, for their what, they were very normal people. So the first thing, you are alive, you didn't die, you survived to so many things. And now to find back your normal life, to be able again to be the woman you used to be, or to have a meaning for your life. So I see, for example, for what is really interesting, I have also many young, and for the young people, I think it is much easier, because when they recover and they have plenty of years in front of them and they make a new life, they make really, it's very impressive. When they heal, they want also to do something to help the others to heal. I hear that very, very often. When we start a therapy, many don't really believe that they can be normal again. And then they realize, yeah, I have the potential. And actually, this is what is very, very important to say. Like my dad used to say, you have the potential in you. They tried to break it. They tried to break you. But as long as you are here, you are still alive. You have the chances to have the foundation. The foundation is still there. So the windows and the walls have been all broken, but the foundation is still there. Then you build again, and you build a better house. And this is the objective, not only to build the house like it was, but to make it even better. And for me, I used to say, this is the best revenge. When people are asking me, how can I be so... I'm a very happy person. I'm laughing all the time. And when they say, how can you do that? And I say, it is the best revenge for those who wanted me dead or miserable or unhappy. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to hate anybody, but I'm not so nice, so I want them to be unhappy to see me so happy.
What are your hopes and your dreams for first yourself and then for your community? What is it that you want to achieve?
Mm-hmm. I think what I really hope for my community, for Rwanda, like I said, in 1959, I was only 1 year old. So I was on the back of my mom when she was running, hiding, trying to survive. And in 1994, when we were running, I was having my baby on my back, also running, hiding, and so on. So I wish that my children will never run with their baby on the back, that there is an end to this suffering, to this discrimination, to this. So I dream of, a peaceful Rwanda. For this is for my personal story. I dream of those children who think they don't have identity. What helps them is that they will make families. So I wish future generation to be free of this traumata. And I'm coming back to what you were saying about the intergenerational trauma. I hope we can break the circle and people can live free of it. Yeah. So for my clients today, I really wish, I hope that they heal and they grow and they can make a safe future generation.
Esther, what do you do to, maintain hope when there is war all around us?
Sometimes I get desperate. I think human beings, we don't learn. We don't learn. I have seen that. The purpose, saying never again, and this waste, the waste of human beings. It is possible to live in peace, but it is always coming again. And there was a time I couldn't really continue to watch the news from Ukraine because I didn't want to that to happen again, to see it again. But on the other hand, I think I have to be realistic. It is utopia to believe that it will cease once. But at least what I believe and what I try to do with my children, with my community, I know that it is possible to say no. So let us try to continue to say no to the violence, say no to this destruction of human beings by other human beings. It is so easy to destroy. and then to build again, to heal, you really realize what a mess, what a waste. And unfortunately, it is waste of human lives.
You said earlier that we all have good and evil, that it depends on which part we choose to develop in us. So how does that connect with healing trauma?
I think if let us take the situation of Rwanda. If people have been courageous, they were people who have been courageous, who have been hiding people, and it was very dangerous for them, but they did. Why they did? And the other ones did the opposite. I remember a very striking story of a young girl, a young Hutu girl. She was on the run to Congo with her grandma, and they passed a woman who has been killed near the road. They have killed a mom, and her baby was still alive, but on the dead body of the mother. And the young girl sees that the baby is still alive, and she told her grandma, "Hey, grandma, the baby is alive. Let us take her." And the grandma told her, No, we are not going to take the enemy." And the young girl was 13 or 14, and she said, "Grandma, she's a baby. She cannot be an enemy." And grandma was saying, no, we don't take her. But the young girl, she came back. They made some meters, but then she came back, and she took the baby, and she used one of the clothes that the mom was having to put the baby on her back. And she took the baby to Congo with her in the camps. For the grandma, she was enemy because she was Tutsi, and for her grandchild, she said no, she cannot be an enemy. And she's the one who grew up the baby. 3 years after they come back, when there was the big move, the refugees, the Hutu refugees coming back to Rwanda, she came back with the small girl, and she was really treating her like a small dolly. She was not rich at all. She was selling vegetables on the market, and she was taking care of the girl. And then I remember she put her in school, and it was we knew the story because after primary school she couldn't afford to pay for her secondary school. And then people told her, "But you know that she's a survivor. Then go to those people of Avega, to the Widows Association, and tell them they will help her they will help you to put her in secondary school." And this is how we came to know the story. It is really such amazing story. They are still living together now. She's a big girl. She finished her secondary school and everything. And she's, of course, there are people telling her, "Why do you stay with this Hutu woman?" And she said, "But she's the only one who knew the face of my mom. She's the only one who can tell me how my mom was looking." So I think there is part of the education which will help us or which will make in our children to really educate them to feed the good and not to feed the evil. This should be part of the education at home, the education in school, the society, the churches, and all those. How do we influence our politicians, our politics, so that we go for the good and not for the evil? So it is something on the individual level, family level, school level, but the whole political level. And I think this is what my dad has been telling us. This is what I try to tell my children. Pay attention. You are going to feed the evil. Yeah, so let us starve the evil. If we starve him, the good will grow.
Are there more examples you wish to share with us?
I remember the nun, Félicité. She was living on the border with Congo, and every night she was helping people to cross and go in Congo in hiding. And then somebody betrayed her, and once the minibus was full and they were ready to go, the killers came. And they were so angry on the nun. She was a Hutu nun sister. And they told her, "How can you do that? You are helping the enemies to cross. You are that." And she said, "No, they are not enemies. They are just Tutsi. You are killing them because they are Tutsis." And they said, please, leave those people. And she said, no, I'm not going to leave them. I stay with them. If you kill them, you kill me with. And then, but they were afraid of killing her because she has a brother who was very high rank in the army, in the Hutu army. And then they said, they called his brother on the funk, and they told him, we are really in trouble. Your sister is in trouble. She's helping enemies to cross, and now she doesn't want to separate from them. We don't know what to do with her. And he said, let me talk to her. Then she talked to his brother. And the brother said, why are you making such noise? This is not your problem. Let them. And she said, my brother, I cannot let them. They are my brothers and sisters. I'm not going to let them. And then he said, I'm really sorry, but I cannot do anything for you. And she said, I'm not asking you to do something for me. I'm asking you to do something for all of them. And he couldn't. So they killed her with the people. And actually, one of the person who told us the story, it was a young girl who was 14, 15, and she was very small. She doesn't have the stereotype of a Tutsi. And then the sister, she pushed her beside and said, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? You don't belong to the group. And she understood that she was saving her, so she ran away, like if she was just looking at the group. And then they killed all of them, including the sister. Yeah, she told his brother. She said, "I'm really sorry. I cannot leave. They are my sisters and brothers, like we say." And he said, "I cannot do anything for you." And she said, "Just give my greetings to Mom." And this was her last words before being killed with the Tutsi she was protecting. So I really believe there is a way of feeding the good. There are many stories like that.
Thank you for this incredible story. I have no more question. I'm just very moved.
Thank you, Sharon.
Anything else you want to say you think is important that we should know?
I think that this is a little bit my slogan, my motto. It works. Okay, this is what I'm doing for more than 20 years, but I'm still doing it because I see really it works. It is possible. It is possible to heal. It is possible to grow. Now we have the other story for the other story I like. This is also from Avega, from our Widows Association. It is we like cows. We have cows in Rwanda. And in the morning, when they go to outside, we clean. So we take all the cow. we put it. There is a place behind the fence. It has a name. It is called Ichukiro. So you put them, and tomorrow and after tomorrow, in the end, it is like a big hill, but which is really stinking. It is really stinking. It is not a place where you go for a chat. But if you plant there, banana tree, or you plant there pumpkin, my goodness, you get the best. So this was our resolution in the Widows Association. We said, look, our story is so stinking. Our story is so sad. Our story is so horrible. Our story is, if we remain like that, nobody is going to approach us because it is stinking, it is horrible, it is not. So let us use it and plant something. So this is why we have a lot of bananas now and a lot of pumpkin.
I think that this is a beautiful way to conclude this. And other than that, I will just say a big thank you. And
you are welcome, Sharon. You are welcome.
Thank you for listening. This was our second episode of our podcast, Invisible Wound. If you liked what you heard, please consider donating to AMCHA. Your donation will go to supporting Holocaust survivors in need and their families. You will find more information in the link below, and don't forget to rate us on Spotify. In our next episode, we will be traveling to Australia to meet Ella. She will give us an artistic perspective on trauma.